Balatro is a poker-inspired roguelike deck builder, nominee for Game of the Year 2024, and the single most addictive product ever released to the general public. When you first launch Balatro, you'll see a cutscene of a deck of cards being sucked into a black hole. If you're seeing this, it's already too late, because like a real black hole, once you're caught in its pull, there's no escape. So now you're here, you may as well understand the rules. What makes Balatro so accessible is that at its core, it's poker, a game most people already have a basic understanding of, which makes learning the rules pretty easy. You need to play hands to score points in order to beat the bind. That's it. Each of the cards are worth a certain amount of chips, aces are worth 11 points, face cards are 10, and number cards are, well, you can probably guess how much they're worth. It's what they say on the tin. Each hand you play also has its own chip value and a mult value. Once you've played your hands, the total chips times the total mult gives you your final score. But of course, the game wouldn't be that popular and consume so much of people's time if it was that simple. To further complicate things, there's Joker cards, which can modify your run. Each Joker card affects the rules of the game in a different way. Some simply give extra mult or chips depending on the number or the suit of the card, and others completely change how the game works. A personal favourite of mine is Four Fingers, which allows you to play a flush or a straight with 4 cards in a hand. You can also purchase trading card packs to gain extra cards for your deck, some of which come with special abilities. Steel cards give ×2 multiplier if they're left in your hand. Glass cards give a ×2 multiplier when played but have a chance to break. There's lucky cards which have a chance to give mult or money, and stone cards which simply give 50 chips. If you play it smart, this allows you to build a deck in favour of a certain hand. Not to mention there are planet cards which can level up certain hands. Jupiter, for instance, levels up flush hands. By leveling up, this means the card gives additional mult and chips, resulting in a higher total score. So if you want, you can level up a pair 10 times to the point that it's worth more than anything else in the game. There's also tarot cards which give consumable power-ups. My favourite tarot card is Wheel of Fortune, because it's gambling. Not that I ever win anything off it though. It's supposed to be a 1 in 4 chance to give a random upgrade to one of your jokers. I have not won 1 out of 4 times, I swear. It's rigged. When you first play, you may be tempted to go for a pair or a 2-pair run, as they're among the easiest hands to get naturally. And there's a few early game jokers that you can get to make them more viable. But while you might win a game or 2 of this strategy, getting up to ante 8 on pairs alone can be a bit of a crawl, with you just about barely scraping by the minimum points you need for the bind. After a few games, you'll quickly realise that flush decks are the way to go. You can usually force a flush within 2 or 3 discards, and they will always give you a decent score. Plus, if you pull Jupiter from the planet packs enough times, your flush will be worth more than even a royal flush, the highest scoring hand in the game, meaning on a good run, you can quite easily beat most binds in a single hand. Seeing those flames rise off the score counter is a euphoric feeling that will get you coming back for more every time. You may be feeling pretty good about yourself by now, but there's still one last trick the game can employ. The boss bind. At the end of each ante, you'll have to face the boss bind to rise up to the next ante. Each boss has its own rule which can completely change how you play, and sometimes, if you forget to check it at the beginning of the ante, it can catch you off guard and kill a promising run dead. Have a face cards deck? Oh, this boss disables face cards. Time to sell your pareidolia, Joker. Goodbye, old friend. Some just up the bind score to an absurd amount, while others offer reduced bind but require you to beat it in a single hand or it's game over. This is where a flush or a straight run is a lot more preferable to a pairs run, because good luck beating a boss bind in one hand when you're playing pairs. It's always important to play to the boss bind, or you'll just end up slamming your table in a fit of rage, whispering under your breath, "Just one more game," but it's 2 AM and you have work in the morning. Of course, if you beat ante 8 and you're not quite satisfied, there's always endless mode where you can play against increasingly more absurd binds with an increasingly more absurd deck, reaching scores so large the numbers have letters in them. You may be wondering, how do I beat Balatro? And the answer is, you don't. You lost the moment you launched the game. Jimbo has your soul now, there's no escape.